Are you filled with fear, doubt, worry about the future of our country? Do you feel the urgency to act before it's too late? If yes, then this podcast is for you. It's time for us to confront the critical issues threatening our nation's fabric, our democracy itself, regardless of our political stance. If you are ready to face reality, handle the tough questions, and find real solutions, then here's your host, Debbie Lynn Molyneux.
Welcome to the Terrified Nation podcast. I'm your host, Debbie Lynn Molyneux. Can we save it? That's what we're exploring in this podcast series. And for me, the answer is a resounding yes. Yes, we can. And we must. Now, this show is where we explore alternatives to being afraid. And we ask ourselves the questions, what now? As we interview guests who have gone from being afraid, angry, or hopeless to become advocates for our nation so that we may live into the promise of our founders, each one of us dedicating ourselves to a better future. And I'd like to start each show with a question. Today's question is, what is the responsibility of corporations to civil society? And joining us today is Abraham G. Walker. Now, he and I met at an event that his company sponsored not too long ago, and he has worked in a corporate environment. But Abraham, because you're not here on behalf of your company today, why don't you share with us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you, Devlin. Yes, Abraham Walker here, and it's an honor to be on your podcast, and I appreciate you giving me this time. Uh, I am, by day, I work for a consulting firm. By night, I am a father to two wonderful girls. One is a teenager, and one is just turned 18 months old. We live outside of the Washington, D.C. area. My husband and I live outside of the Washington, D.C. area. I've been in the workforce for over 20 years now and having had a chance to look at not only how do we get people to change their way of thinking and the way that they work, but also how do we make sure we provide the best experience to our people as they think about where they want their career to be, where kind of learning that they want to do, also in regards to how do they want to see their career progressing. So for me, it's all been about change. I'm still doing change related work, and so I'm really happy to talk about this today. A little more personal thing: I am a graduate of the University of Virginia, which years ago also have an MBA from Thunderbird Graduate School of Business.
Wonderful. Well, I'm so glad to have you here today. And one of the things that kind of struck me with our conversation before we got to my asking you to be interviewed on the podcast was this idea of human-centered design and actually making business work for more than just the shareholders. And so to just kind of keep that in mind as for the listeners as we're going through this today, because we're actually going to get really personal first with Abraham before we talk about his work in the community. And part of what we're doing here with this interview about your personal preferred future, Abraham, is we're going to ask you to imagine the future that you really want for yourself and for your family. And so as we go through the questions, remember, this is your preferred future. It's not what you think is likely or probable. We often limit ourselves in our imagination by thinking, oh, I can't have this or that won't happen. No, this is actually like declaring what you want for yourself. So we're going to do a little bit of time travel today. And it's somewhere between 2 and 20 years into the future. What sounds right for you?
Let's go with 5 years.
5 years into the future. Okay. So even though we are recording this in late 2024, when we get in the time machine, we're going to go to early 2030. So 5 years out into the future, which will be 5 years from the date that this podcast is actually released. So think about 2030. Let's climb into our little handy dandy time capsule that's right here in the Zoom booth with us. And we're going to set the dial here for early 2030. And when we get there, you're going to observe yourself at 5 years older. So however old you will be in 5 years, you're going to be yourself today, observing your older self. You got it?
Yes.
Okay, we're pulling into the 2030 station right now. Ding! And the doors are opening and we're climbing out of our time capsule. First question's pretty easy. Where are we in 5 years in 2030?
I still see myself in Washington, D.C. I still see, at least in the Washington, D.C. area, I still see myself at my current company. Uh, but what's more interesting for me is where my children will be too. So my older daughter, she will be hopefully, if she well, hopefully she's going to be out of high school, either in college or doing a trade, a trade, doing something trade related, but at least have a sense of where, or even have a sense of where she wants to be for her future. I know that's not always the case. When I graduated from high school and went to college, I thought I was going to be a computer engineer, and I ended up not doing that. I ended up doing finance when I graduated from college. But then my work now is not finance related at all. So at least for my wish for her is that she will at least have an idea of where she wants to go in the next 5 years, even if it's not the rest of her life. And then my younger daughter will be, she should be 7, so she'll be in the what, second grade, I
First
guess.
or second grade,
Was it
yeah?
second grade? Yes, yes. So if I think about that, so I put myself in that situation. I know, as I said, I will still be with the same company.
Okay.
My husband and I, we should still be in Silver Spring. But here are some of the things that I really would like to see five
Well,
years from now.
hold on just a
Yes,
second here, because what I'd like to do, so you're still in Silver Spring 5 years from now. You're observing your older self there. Tell
yes.
me a little bit about Silver Spring and how it's grown, or describe Silver Spring for people who haven't been there and they don't know what it is.
Oh,
What's it
um,
like to be there? What's the atmosphere?
okay. Yes. Silver Spring. There's a Fleetwood Mac song called Silver Spring. By the way, I just learned about this a few months ago. But Silver Spring has a downtown, and one of the things that we've been doing the downtown revitalization is bringing in more corporations and also bringing in more sense of a community. Right now, we have United Therapeutics. If you've been down to Silver Spring, United Therapeutics is very much into medical technology, and it was co-founded by Sirius XM.
Sirius XM,
Yes,
yes, satellite
yes,
radio.
yes, yes. So she was one of the co-founders and started United Therapeutics because of some issues with her, some medical issues with her child, with one of her child. And it has, I look at it as it when it comes to downtown Silver Spring, it used to be Discovered. Now it's United Therapeutics that has most of the buildings, and it's beautiful buildings.
How
So
this looks and feels to you.
it looks and feels to me is that I can walk to downtown Silver Spring. I can be able to enjoy um, more variety of international cuisine. Right now, Silver Spring we have many different international cuisine that's available. We even have a special market that has that, but we have an expansion of it. I would also like to see a younger population in Silver Spring of people who are looking at Silver Spring as a great alternative to living in in the Washington D.C. area specifically. They're looking at Silver Spring as a place to not only start a life as a young adult, but also continue to have it when they decide to get married or partner up and have
Yeah.
children. They can continue to do that in Silver Spring. This is why I'm looking at Silver Spring. I also see it as a destination where we have companies who are looking to thrive in Maryland. They come into Silver Spring for doing that.
Yeah.
They're not only looking at Bethesda, they're not looking at Virginia, but they're looking at Silver Spring as the home that they want to come to. Uh, they look at the schools that we have in Silver Spring and they see that it's a great place. It's a great place
Yeah.
for living, for raising a family. Yeah.
Well, and so this kind of leads into our next question here, which is, as you're observing your 5 year older self in 2030, what is it that you're most proud of?
I, I'm most proud of the fact that, well, right now all my hair is gray. So in
What
5 years from now, 5 years from now, I believe I'll be 55, 5 years from now.
Okay.
So it is one of those things where I feel like I can still, with what would be a 21-year-old. Yes, a 21-year-old and a 7-year-old. I still have the stamina to
Okay.
to to deal with them. Uh, I
So
can
you'll
still
be
look.
really proud of your personal health and keeping up
Yes,
with your daughter.
exactly. I want to be proud of my personal health. I want to be proud of the fact that I'm still able to be a good father to both my
Mhm.
daughters, especially the younger one because she's getting older and she's gonna become a teenager. I'm not getting any younger. So how is it that I will be proud of that. I will also be proud of the fact that I've become a much more ingrained part of my community.
Mm.
So I would like to be able to say, hey, I am part of the board of trade or a board that's focused on how do we make sure that Silver Spring continue to be a place where people love to live, love to
Yeah.
work,
Well, I'm
be more
hearing,
involved.
I just want to like insert here. I'm hearing planning commission. Some of the things that you're talking about that you want for Silver Spring fall in the planning commission category.
It sounds like it, right? It sounds like it. But and I also tease my husband sometimes, like, you know what? Maybe I should just run for an office. I don't see that in 5 years.
Okay.
I don't see
Maybe
that in
10?
5 years. It depends on maybe 10 if the opportunity is there,
Okay.
if it's something that would make sense for myself and also my family.
Yep.
If it's something that I see I'm able to make a greater impact as an elected official versus a private citizen. If I can see that, absolutely. But if the impact is going to be the same that I can make as a private citizen versus elected official, I don't see the point of becoming an elected official, especially having to deal with politics and
Oh gosh, yes. I,
yeah.
I hear
So
you there.
definitely, yes,
Well,
yeah. Yes.
anything else that you're proud of your 5 year older self? You're a good father, you're getting involved in your community. Anything else that you're most proud of?
I'm trying to think hard about what else I'll be proud of, and it's really about continuing to hopefully be a good father, uh,
Hmm.
and a good partner and husband to
There
my
you go.
kids.
I was gonna
Yes,
prompt that
yeah,
one if
yes, yeah, a good
awesome.
husband too. Yes, because it's one of those things where it's been a great partnership. We've been together for 21 years now. Yes, so it'll be 26 years then.
Right.
And it's one of those things I'm like, wow, 26 years.
Silver
So
anniversary coming up.
yes, 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 yes. So it would be great to continue to be a good father,
Hmm.
as and but to be more engaged in my community, where I'm taking an active role, uh, more active role in my community. That's not even tied to my work, but it's more something that I've taken on personally.
So let's walk through an average day because I really want to know in your 5 year older self when you're 55 in 2030, how will you spend your day? Like what is your perfect average day?
So let's start with the weekday. So the
Okay.
weekday, I get up, I feel good, and I'm pumped to go and exercise. I don't have to worry about now that my daughter is 7 years old. I don't have to worry about her waking up and having to feed her, so she can do that all by herself. So I can go and exercise, and I know my plan for the day, and that plan for the day includes getting ready, going to work, doing not exactly what I'm doing now, but maybe something different where it's something with a little bit of a global aspect versus what
Okay.
I'm doing now, which is more focused on global. Uh, also, so I'm going to work. I'm having some meetings during that day. We always have meetings, but I'm able to go into work and I'm hopefully be able, and maybe the technology is there. We can do some hologramming. I doubt it in 5 years, but the technology that we can do hologramming. But it's one of those where I'm able to go to work, still take the metro, or
On the purple line.
well, I still have to take the metro. If I'm coming to the city, I still have to take the metro. So purple line to the metro, and be able to arrive at work is one of those days where I can see that I'm doing things a lot differently than what I used to do today. What I'm doing today, I see that I'm using generative AI more at work, for a lot of things that I'm not doing it for today. Uh, Today, I'm looking to say, hey, what are the use cases? And whereas 5 years from now, I've actually implemented those generative AI solutions. And so my work is more focusing on how else can I add value versus just doing the manual and repetitive things that are to be done with generative AI. So I'm hoping by I want generative AI to play more role, more of a part in my work, and maybe even at home too. I am able to
Again,
have
this is your preferred future, so declare it so.
yes, okay, I declare it so. So generative AI will play more part in my work and at home. When I get into work, I'm working downtown DC or somewhere close in where I don't have to travel. I don't no, I'm not traveling for work.
Okay.
Is if I need to travel, and I know this being a global role, as I mentioned before, if I'm if I need to travel, it is because I have a 1 day trip or a 1 week trip outside of the country coming back. But the normal day, I'm in the office, I'm having meetings, I'm having conversations with people who is all about the impact we are making, not only with the work that we're doing for our clients and who else, but also what are we doing for our greater community, our local
Mm.
community, our wider community, and then the global community. So my day, it
So
was
what what
the
happens what happens when you get home?
when I get home, I want to be able to do the same thing that I'm doing today. Actually, when I get home, which is spending some time with my family and then cooking dinner. I love to cook. So I don't want that to change 5 years from now. I don't want it to be where I'm unable to cook. I still want to be able to cook. I want to have I'm going to have better skills at cooking, especially at plating. Um, I'm going my all
Now,
my
did you say especially at plating,
yes
like
plating.
the
How
presentation?
the presentation? Yes,
Okay, so all right, so again, declare it so. Like
yes,
5 years from now, you're a better cook, and the presentation of dinner is beautiful.
it's beautiful. And on this day, on this specific day, I've already invited some colleagues or friends over for dinner. So they're coming in and they are able to experience. They are able to get this experience with me and my family and others, where it's uh, it's a community experience. Even though it's about food, but it's also about community. It's about having that connection, that conversation that helps to lift our spirits so that when they leave, it's not like, this meal was, but it's more they leave and they go, you know what? My spirit's lifted. I'm going to have a better day the next day. Uh,
Oh,
so,
I hear that. So one of the things for that you're uh spending your time on is actually hosting that soul-filling connection uh within your community.
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
And then after everyone leaves, I'm assuming there's some cleanup that happens, and then what?
Yes. After everyone leaves, there's a cleanup that happened. Hopefully, my husband will be doing that since I did all the cooking.
That should be the rule always.
It's the rule now, so he's very good about that. And my now 7 year old should be asleep. My now 21-year-old will either be in college. Well, no, he's not 21. Yeah, it's 21. Am I doing my math wrong? Uh, no, that's 20 years old. Yeah.
Okay.
To be in college or at home.
So she could be in her room doing whatever she does in her room, or she could be at
I'm
college.
hoping I'm hoping by then she's out of her room, and maybe she
Okay.
was even the one who helped me with the cooking because she is also very much into cooking. And so it could be something that we do together. And
Right.
she
Oh,
uses that. Now that one I would love to speak that, but yes, I would like
yeah.
to speak that into existence. She and I will be the ones who have made that dinner, cooked it together, and had other people visit us and enjoy the dinner.
Oh, I love that. I love that idea of like shared cooking duties with your daughter. That's beautiful. And then anything special for getting ready for bed? Is there
Uh,
anything?
Not really, actually. Actually, I take that back. A little bit of meditation and stretching. I'm
Okay.
doing it now, and I will be doing it much better and continue to do it, because one of the things I'm noticing is as I get older, it's harder when you get out of bed to really feel like you want to get out of bed before everything.
I'm into that. Amen. Oh, yes. Well, this is rolling right into, because I'm having a whole bunch of feelings about your future life right now. But how will you feel most of the time?
Most of the time, I will feel energized. I will feel ready to take on what the day brings. Doesn't mean that I'm going to be 100% all the time happy, which I don't want to be like that, because I think there needs to be a time where, you sit back and you're like, okay, maybe this is not my best day, but I'm going to learn from it. Also, but I'm ready. It's all about the energy, and having that energy and motivation, that enthusiasm to bring my best self to wherever I am. Whether it could be the cooking, what it is working with my team at work, what it is with working with my family at home, but just bringing my best self to bear, so that people. And also, uh, one thing I will also say, and this is something that I've been working on for years, and something I definitely would say, is that I am looked at as someone, when someone has a question, or uh, want to get advice about how to be connected with people, how to just connect with people. I want to be that person who
Mm.
come to and say, "Hey, I would like some advice." So, in addition to my role at work, I can also be a connector, someone who facilitate, or a facilitator of connections. Let me put it that way.
Okay, a facilitator of connections. I love that. I want to highlight also something, the feeling that came up in me as you were describing the hosting the dinner in this community and the soul-filling connections that people have. I also had this kind of deep sense of satisfaction at being able to provide that space and that
Yeah,
meal for
absolutely,
people.
absolutely. And there is
Um,
that sense of satisfaction where people can come and be. I know people say safe space. I call it brave space. So you can be, and that's not my original term of mine. I heard it someone else were saying brave space, where you can be brave to have conversations that may be complicated,
right.
brave to share ideas that it may not be fully baked, but it's an idea you have, and you want to share that idea, and you see if somebody else may be on the same track, or maybe thinking the same thing. Where you feel brave to bring your true self, and just, you know, being brave to be you, and giving that brave space to people. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that providing space for authenticity to surface and be accepted. And I love that. So as you're again observing your older self, your 55-year-old self, what can you identify as your 3 to 5, and this is an arbitrary number, but 3 to 5 priority values, or you might say qualities?
I would say the first one for me is, and I think this is caring slash empathy. So being able to care for others and empathize with others, being able to put yourself in others' shoes and
Mhm.
understand, hey, not everyone is going to be smiling every day. Some people may have some bad days. Some people may have some great days, but you should try to meet people where they are in that specific day, and try to understand from them, and not try to read so quickly. I'm hoping that, not hoping that, with the years, with the extra 5 years, I'm going to be there where I can say, hey, okay, totally understand. Your day is not going great. Let me know. Should I get out of your way? Or is there anything I can do to help your day get better? So that caring and empathy, definitely, that's the one.
Okay, of
And that extends even to my family too, the caring and empathy.
course.
Um, I would say being sense of pride in pride slash confidence. Pride in what I've achieved thus
Hmm.
far, what my family members have achieved, or what we as a family have achieved, and confidence in, hey, we've been able to do all this. We should continue to have confidence in ourselves, confidence in our ability. Um, and this is a question I'm trying to think everything of offhand now. So the third one I would say, so I mentioned caring and empathy, pride and confidence.
Right.
Sometimes without going to the to being annoying or full of yourself. And then I think the third one is, which brings into the care and the empathy, is community. Making sure that there is that community, because at the end of the day, it's all about, you're gonna be living with all of these people. Everyone is in this space. So how do you making sure you're making the community even better than where it was
Well,
before?
yeah, and I want to ask just quickly on that one, because when you say community, what I heard in my own ears was actually inclusion, so that everyone felt becomes part of the community.
And
Is
that
that
that's
accurate?
that's part of it. I think
Okay.
that's part of it. But it's also, what kind of impact are you making on the community? The positive impact, right?
Right.
It's not only people feeling included, but at the same time, is there equity? Right?
Right. Right.
It's in an equitable community. It's a community where you can make $40,000 a year and still feel like, well, maybe that's actually not going to do that, but you can make 80, because not in these days, no. But yeah, in fact,
Yeah.
actually, you know what? In 5 years, you can make $40,000 a year and still feel that you have other people in your community who's watching out for you,
Right.
who's putting you, because not everyone is going to be making how much money everyone else is making. Um, so how are we making our community equitable so that we can all live in the community? That maybe some of us who will need to donate more in taxes or whatever it is, but we are all living in a community that's inclusive, to your point.
Right. And so what you're getting at, I think, is that regardless of circumstance, the people in your community have a sense of belonging.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And
Thank
agency.
you.
I
You
heard
making
I
it.
heard belonging and agency both.
Yes, you make it sound much better than me talking. So thank you. I
I have
appreciate it.
I have the joyful job of listening to people and really kind of sussing out or pulling out those threads to make sure we get at it. So, okay, so we're almost done here. We've got
Huh?
two more questions. And this next to last question is really kind of coming back to the community in which you're living, to Silver Spring. And
Mhm.
what does Silver Spring need to include or provide so that your preferred future that we've just outlined here is possible?
Definitely need more affordable housing.
Okay.
Affordable housing, and definitely need to rethink how we are funding different ways of people funding the ways that people can can attain the opportunity that everyone else have, can either with the education, jobs, so forth. But at the same time, thinking of a way how we can attract more sources that will help us do that. So if it could be a company, bringing in more companies, how can we attract more companies into the area? How can we bring other ways into the area that where people can have minimal opportunities for work? So federal government bringing, is there possibility to bring more out of DC or even other places in Maryland into Silver Spring, uh, or even if they're new ones. So maybe not to take away from other communities.
Yeah,
Um,
well, but I'm hearing like there's that what the community needs to include or provide is opportunities
yes,
for people to participate in the community itself.
yes, exactly. And that's not only the community, that's not only where, and I know we started off with the question of how can corporations, so that's not where just the government will take a place.
Right.
This is where corporations definitely will come into place. Civic organizations, nonprofits will all come into play to say, how can we make sure this is a community of opportunity where inequity. Uh, yeah.
Yeah. And just a reminder for listeners, we started out with this kind of question for us to reflect on today as we were talking here with Abraham about what is the responsibility of corporations to civil society. And so what I'm hearing from your answer, Abraham, is that employers, not just government, not just corporations, but also nonprofits and other groups have a responsibility to provide these opportunities within communities so that the community can thrive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's the saying? It takes a village. So,
It takes a village to raise a child. It also takes
yes.
a village to be a village.
Yes, exactly. We all need our part. We all need to play our part. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're at the last question right now, and I almost feel like you've answered this question already, but I'm going to ask it anyway, just
Okay.
in case something new comes out here. And it's this: is there anything that you can do today or in the near future to influence or co-create that community that's going to support you in 2030?
Yes, there is something I could do today. First thing I could do today is start looking at organize. You mentioned planning. Uh, I can definitely look into organizations and nonprofits that are focused on the future of Silver Spring, and get involved with that. Whether it is sitting on the board or raising money for it, or even it could be volunteering with that organization and seeing, hey, how can I elevate my volunteer and my support for that organization? So I would say
Yeah.
that would be the first thing, and that would be the main thing for me to do is how putting my words into action.
That's why that question is there.
Exactly. I know.
Well, and I love that answer. The other thing I'm just going to lead you to is that if you haven't been hosting those dinner parties, start hosting the dinner parties.
Yes. Well, they've been starting. I haven't called them such as such. People don't really know it, but it's been something that's been happening, and I don't label it, but we do get that effect out of it. Yes.
Well, and just if you need any volunteers to come and try new dishes, I only live 30 minutes away, so
It's true.
keep me in mind, and I'm
I
happy
will.
to drive to Silver Spring. Uh, well, I just want to thank you so much. I want to end our interview today with this invitation. And the invitation is to spend 5 minutes every day, maybe at that meditation time at the end of your day, thinking about your future self and feeling the feelings that you've identified here, and including or dropping in a sense of awe and wonder. And there's some neuroscience behind this, because when we experience awe and wonder, it changes our brains in a way that we will start to focus on things that bring us awe and wonder. And if this preferred future is what you really want, you will program or reprogram your mind to start subconsciously making choices to lead you there. And all it takes is 5 minutes a day.
Yes. Thank you.
So that is the invitation to you and to all the listeners of Terrified Nation out there. If you would like to participate in this research, you can go to americanfuture.us. You can download these same questions, answer them for yourselves, do it in a journal, interview some friends and family. It's actually a really fun activity. And then if you want your voice to be part of a national research project, go back to the website and share your future story with us. Everything is kept anonymous. We do ask some demographic questions so that we know that we are including people of all walks of life throughout the United States. So Abraham, thank you so much for sharing with us your American future today.
Thank you so much for having me, Debeline. Really appreciate it.
So, and in closing today's show, I want to thank you, the listeners of Terrified Nation, for giving a damn. We may be a terrified nation today, but we can do better. We can save the USA. Join me next time.
So that's it for today's episode of Terrified Nation. Head on over to iTunes or wherever you listen to subscribe to the show. You can get advance notice of new episodes and bonus content by signing up. Head over to terrifiednation.com and join us on the next episode.